My name is Mircea Alstanei. Introduction or the problem. So, what is our presentation? Our presentation touches upon the topic of personal transportation and how it relates to the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 13, climate action. So, what we'll be doing is comparing two different types of vehicles, combustion vehicles and hybrid vehicles. And we're comparing these on three different axes on emissions, efficiency, and manufacturing. And that brings us to our problem statement. So, our problem statement is considering the current and possible future state of the environment, it is important that we analyze and give a recommendation on whether or not we should change what we drive, whether we should be using combustion vehicles or hybrid vehicles.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about what are hybrid cars basically here. So, hybrid cars are a branch of cars that differ from the conventional gas-powered cars and the electric cars in terms of manufacturing. It contains characteristics of both of them and therefore it's called a hybrid. Now it has two motors, that is the most obvious difference here. One is a gasoline-powered engine and the other is an electric motor. The hybrid car runs primarily on fossil fuel, but it can also be switched to run on electricity too, through the push of a button. Unlike electric cars, the hybrid car does not need to be charged through plug-in outlet, as the battery is charged through regenerative braking while the car is on the road. The electrical energy is stored in batteries and therefore it is charged automatically. The car can be switched from gas mode to electric mode vice versa on the run. So the plug-in hybrid car is another type of hybrid vehicle, and the most obvious difference in this case is that the plug-in hybrid car just has more capacity for the electrical energy. That's pretty much it.
It's Dania Almahadin. In terms of emission, when in hybrid mode, most hybrids reduce life cycle greenhouse gas emissions such as CO2, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulates by 15 to 30% when compared to conventional gas vehicles. When in electric-only mode, hybrid cars charged using average mains electricity show a significant reduction in CO2, around 40% compared to a small petrol car. However, renewable electricity reduces fuel life cycle emissions to almost zero. Although highly dependent on the driving and fueling routines of each owner, initial experience suggests that hybrid cars tend to be powered on electricity for around half of the miles driven. The official test, however, assumes that the vehicle is operating on electricity for around 80% of the time. Either way, the fact that hybrids are effectively electric cars for some of the time and low-emission hybrids for the remainder means that overall emissions are significantly reduced.
My name is Maria Flores, and I will be discussing the efficiency in hybrid vehicles. So one of the major benefits when it comes to hybrid vehicles is its feature of regenerative braking. Regenerative braking solves the problem in which most energy wasted is due to braking. It ensures that this energy isn't lost, but instead takes it back to be used later. According to simulations done, it has proven that more than 60% of braking energy can be restored. And then this increases efficiency significantly, because now we are reusing this energy and it is not going to waste. Another advantage to hybrid vehicles is that it does not idle. Idling can be a factor in reducing the efficiency of a car, as it requires energy wasted in the car not moving. The reason that hybrid cars do not idle is because of its auto engine shutoff. This means that if you stop the car, once you start it again, the car will use power from the battery instead. This proves to be much more efficient as the battery focuses on powering the car in the most efficient way. And it is known that batteries are able to convert 77% of their energy to power the wheels, while combustion can only convert about 12 to 30%. So this brings us to our next point, which is that combustion vehicles are inefficient compared to hybrid vehicles. Combustion vehicles waste energy that could have potentially been used to power the car, and they're wasting energy and efficiency because they're not using their energy to actually move the car forward. And also, most of this energy is lost to heat and several other factors like that. According to an article, to improve efficiency by a factor of 3, the car's weight must also be reduced by at least 1,000 pounds. This brings us to another incredible benefit of hybrid vehicles, which is that they are designed to allow for more smaller and lighter components, reducing the overall weight significantly. So there is one disadvantage to using hybrid vehicles, and that's in colder weather. In colder weather, the battery within the car requires more time to function and is slowed down. This means that the battery that powers the motor is not achieving its full potential and must greatly rely on the internal combustion energy, which will reduce the overall efficiency of the vehicle. And although this is a disadvantage, it is not really significant compared to the other advantages mentioned.
My name's Kiet and we will now look at environmental impact when it comes to manufacturing these vehicles. Between combustion engine, hybrid, and electric production, there is a lot in common. In the end, they are still cars. They all require things like tires, metal, glass, plastic, paint, and other similar materials and components that go into making each vehicle. But there are key differences that significantly change the environmental impact. When we look at human toxicity potential, which is the potential harm of chemicals when released into the environment, we see that electric and hybrid vehicles fare substantially worse in this category than almost any alternative type of vehicle in human toxicity. Greenhouse gases emissions during production of hybrid and electric vehicles are also across the board much greater than combustion vehicles. This is mostly due to the fact that hybrids and electrical vehicles require more advanced components of electrical motors and especially batteries. These batteries are very toxic, being flammable and highly reactive, and can be poisonous and carcinogenic. This is because of the materials that go into them, including materials like copper, cobalt, and lithium. This increases the toxicity potential because during production or even use of these vehicles, these chemicals can be released into the environment and cause serious damage. Up to 25% of an electric vehicle's lifetime emissions can be attributed to battery production. This can be up to 80% of their total impact if you include battery production and battery replacement. The greenhouse gases released from the creation of the batteries themselves only account for a small amount. The majority of greenhouse gases emitted in the supply chain actually come from obtaining these rare earth metals. Mining and extraction of these metals have considerable impact on the environment. All this may make hybrids not seem as attractive now, but this does not outweigh all the long-term positives that make hybrids worth it.
So climate change and the negative impacts on the environment is a rising problem that we all need to deal with. So looking back at all the facts that have been presented by my teammates, we can safely conclude that the hybrid car is a solution, or rather a counter, to the emissions created by the transportation industry on the environment. It is how we can fulfill our transportation needs while making a lesser impact on the environment negatively compared to the conventional gas-powered car. The advantages of the hybrid car clearly outweighs the disadvantages, and therefore we can finally say that the hybrid car and the plug-in hybrid car is the optimal choice for the public. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I hope we were all informative towards you.